Bam. Bam. My peoples. My peoples. Welcome to a brand new episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. I'm your host, Jay Smith. You guys know how we do it, man. We're gonna talk boxing. That's what we do. Um, First of all, this is episode number 31. I want to thank you guys for, keeping the ball rolling. If it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't even be doing this. In fact, when I started Boxing for Breakfast, the whole idea was I'm going to do this for a few days and see what the people think. I'll do 4 or 5 episodes. If the people like it, we're going to keep it going. If they don't, move on to something else. But Boxing for Breakfast, man, has been well received by boxing fans. People are enjoying it, and they're really understanding the concept. I see people who are headed to work and they're tuning in, who are actually having their breakfast, telling me, yo, Jay, this is what I'm eating this, I'm eating that. So the concept of Boxing for Breakfast, my people, it's always been boxing fans, get up in the morning and maybe you don't have someone in the house with you who's as much of a boxing fan as you are. That's usually the case with most of us. If you're hardcore boxing fans, there's a very good possibility that the people that are, that live with you or that are around you, that they're not as much of fans of the sports as you. So Boxing for Breakfast is the answer. You get to tune in, talk about the biggest fights, debate, all that good stuff, and actually enjoy boxing and listen to, information which is quite clear about the sport from somebody who knows what the hell they talking about, my peoples. So there you have it. This is episode number 31 of Boxing for Breakfast. And you guys are the only reason that it's still going down. So the boxing fans, the boxing community decided we want Boxing for Breakfast. We're gonna keep getting it, my peoples. We're gonna keep getting it. By the way, the conversations are starting to heat up between, I'm not gonna say negotiations. I'm saying the conversations are heating up between Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. We see them going back and forth on social media. And in fact, Teofimo posted what we could say was kind of like a warning, do you like Barboza? Be careful what you wish for. Remember, he said that to Barboza, and then Barboza got made to look easy. So he said those words to Shakur, which Shakur responded, damn well I ain't no Barboza. Stop it. Stop it. But, man, listen, I really hope Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson can fight. There's not that many fights that you could say are of that caliber. Somebody, we already know what Shakur bring to the table. We already know what Teofimo bring to the table. Two fighters like that meeting up in the ring, that would be a very, very fun, entertaining matchup. Just to see these two different styles, two fighters who have two totally different styles, but they're both very good at what they do. They both have the skill set to do a lot of different things in the ring. So it's like I said, man, look, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, I hope they can make that fight happen. The same, even though this fight supposedly is already happening, right? Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney is supposedly already happening. We already know that Brian Norman Jr. and Devin, they're supposed to be fighting in November. They already did a couple of face-off, pressers, all that good stuff. So I hope Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney is going down. Like, look, that's a fight. The moment they announced that, we was all talking about it right away. Yo, Teofimo, Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. How could he go to 147 and go straight for Brian Norman Jr.? That shows a lot of heart. That shows a lot of balls from Devin. But come on now. Come on now. We have to get that fight to know, can Devin Haney really beat Brian Norman Jr.? That that's what. Meco Moreno, Teofimo, he's from our country. Listen, Teofimo Lopez, I was just talking about it, man. I want to see Teofimo versus Shakur. I believe that that's a fight that it'll be very, very technical, but also action-packed. We saw that Shakur Stevenson has the skill set to do you in from the outside, from the inside. If he's using the footwork and you close the gap, we already know what he's able to do. We saw him do it versus Zepeda. So it's not like, at this point, for the folks who say, well, Teofimo is going to apply too much pressure on Shakur if they fight each other. Did Zepeda try to do that? And I'm not saying that Teofimo Lopez and Zepeda are on the same skill level. That's not what I'm saying. My point is that we already saw that Shakur Stevenson has the skills to handle pressure right there from up close. From close quarters. Easy work. But when we're talking about Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., when I'm seeing all this stuff on social media about how, you know, Bill or Dev, you know, they might want to pull out of the fight because they want the steroid testing to start right away and it hasn't started. So we just trying to figure out, man. We just trying to figure out how long is it, or what's going to happen. What is going to happen? You know, are they going to fight? Is Bill going to say, no, we're not going to fight because they're not starting the drug testing soon enough? I don't know. I really don't know. But I tell you what, my hope, what I'm hoping is that Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. will be fighting. I hope that nothing happens that leads to, you know, Bill and Devin wanting to pull out of the fight. Because this is a big, big fight. It's a big one. And you know us boxing fans, when as soon as two names come up, two big names or two champions come up, and they're both undefeated, and there's the possibility that they might fight each other, we on it. We be wanting those fights to happen. Almighty Jalen, tell levels above Matias. I believe so too. Look, Matias, he can fight. Obviously, he got power, applies pressure. But Teofimo Lopez has a lot more in his bag of tools. He'll beat him. Might even make it look easy. Look, I could even picture Teofimo Lopez fighting Subriel the same way he fought his last opponent, what's his name? Leandro Barbosa. I could picture him doing that, you know, using the footwork, using the movement, the angles. And Subriel struggles with that, with fighters who got that footwork, who can give him different looks. Almighty levels. 140 division got the best lineup of champs right now. And Tio the best one. 140 right now, man, is sizzling. Sizzling, my peoples. That division is on fire. But you got to remember, even though we're saying that about the 140 division, Teofimo Lopez was already playing with the idea of moving up to 147. Remember that he was already in talks with Jerome Boots Ennis to fight at the welterweight division. And in fact, it was Boots who declined the offer. So that fight could have actually happened. So a lot of these guys that you're seeing at 140, look at Devin. Devin might or will probably, if they don't pull out, fight Brian Norman Jr. at the end of this year. So you can see that these guys that are at the top of the 140 division, they're going to be at 147 soon. And you talk about Teofimo Lopez, who was already in talk with Jerome Boots Ennis, Devin Haney, who might be fighting Brian Norman Jr. next. And if he does, I don't think he'll go back down from 147 after that fight. That's it. Devin stays at that division. Almighty Jalen, he needs to stay away from 147 altogether, unless it's Devin. I'm telling you, a lot of these guys that you see, a lot of these young guys, that you see in the 140 division, they're going to end up at 147. And I tell you what, I wanted to see, I thought Boots versus Teofimo was going to happen. I really thought that fight was going to happen, my peoples. And I was looking forward to it. I was like, yo, Boots, Teofimo, that's it. That fight is going to be crazy. And I was super surprised to see that it was Boots that pulled out. Which, by the way, Devin Haney was willing to fight Boots as well. They approached him about it. And that fight could have happened because Devin Haney wanted to fight at welterweight and Boots wanted to fight at a catchweight of 152. They couldn't agree. Fight didn't happen. Luffy, hello, sir. Can I learn boxing from home? Watch boxing videos on YouTube. And then you figure it out from there. My peoples, now, with these fights that we spoke about already, we have to take this into consideration. Armando Rosado, salute, my brother. Bam. The biggest fight in boxing, we all know, Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. There's nothing bigger. There is no bigger fight in boxing, my people. And I'm so happy about that fight. We're still months away. We're talking about it's in September. Crawford versus Canelo is in September. And I'm so excited about that fight. And I tell you why. Luffy, I don't think you saw the instructions, but we got to stay on topic. I'm talking about Crawford and Canelo, and you're bringing up Mike Tyson, who's a retired fighter. So, you know, take a little 30-minute break. And when you come back, think about the rules. We're talking about this topic, not about fighters that don't fight anymore. So, my peoples, Almighty Jalen, Canelo by TKO. I think you're going to be disappointed. I think you're going to be disappointed, real disappointed with that. You also had Errol Spence by TKO, and you saw how Errol Spence got pummeled. But I'm super happy about that fight. And the reason I'm super happy about that fight is because I'm probably the first person that I've seen calling out for it. I'm the first person that I've seen asking for that fight to happen. I didn't see nobody else. And I want you guys to understand something when it comes to Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. After Bud beat Madrimov, I told people, you know what? He can move up 2 divisions. Or Canelo could meet him at a catch weight. Maybe 162 or something like that. But I feel like Crawford could beat him. And y'all have no idea, my peoples, how much I was ridiculed by people saying stuff like, this fight could never happen. You don't know shit about boxing. You don't see the difference. Look at the difference in size. Look at the difference in divisions. Crawford and Canelo will never fight. You dumb. Your channel is dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. Nobody wants to see Canelo and Crawford. Nobody's going to see that fight. Y'all see how now Canelo versus Crawford is the biggest fight in boxing? And the people who said those things to me, they know where to be found. Nowhere to be found. Now everybody wants to fight. Armando Rosado, I got cancel. Write me down for that. Canelo. Okay, you got Canelo? Okay. Okay. I'm just telling y'all going to be disappointed. So everybody who has Canelo on September 14th, I hope you guys show up to that episode of Boxing for Breakfast. Because that's the thing. You know, everybody makes a prediction. It's easy to make a prediction. But when it's time to show up for the live, chat, I don't be seeing some of you. I really don't be seeing some of you, chat. Real talk. I still remember the whole crowd of people that was saying Zepeda's going to be running from Shakur all night long. Zepeda's just going to be running. Shakur's going to be running from Zepeda. Zepeda's going to be chasing him. Zepeda might even stop him. Shakur put the beats on Zepeda, made it look easy. The next day, next episode of Boxing for Breakfast, I don't see none of the people that was saying Shakur was going to run. So I have a feeling it's going to be the same way. All of you guys that are saying, Canelo's going to win, Canelo's going to do this, Canelo's going to do that. September 14th, your internet wasn't working. Your phone died. You lost your phone. Y'all not going to be there. Almighty Jalen, Canelo going to fight on his toes like he did against Skull Smith, and Crawford gets hit too easy. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he fought versus Skull. How was he on? Skull was on his toes. Canelo was just chasing him around. He couldn't cut the ring to save his life. Like, what are you talking about? Fight on his toes? Bro, I don't think you've been watching Canelo lately. Ain't no fighting from the toes from Canelo. Like, what? Bro, the last time Canelo was fought on his toes, he was probably like at 154, bro. You're not watching what's really going on out there. And I'll tell you what, with all of these predictions that are out there, Canelo is gonna be the favorite. But watch, I promise you this. You're gonna see the odds getting closer and closer as they get closer to fight night. You know why? Because the odds also shift based on the amount of bets placed. So all those bets, people that are like, damn, Crawford's the underdog. I'm gonna flip my money with him. We feel like he's gonna win. So all those bets that are gonna go towards Crawford in Crawford's favor, they're gonna tilt the odds. So by the time we get to fight night, the odds are gonna be really close. Really close. Armando Rosado, I had Arrow. Not by KO, but yeah, I had Arrow. I still admit it, I accept it. Crawford was better. Almighty Gene, Canelo gonna fight on his toe. Yeah, I don't know what Almighty Gene talking about. Look, I'm gonna tell you something, Armando Rosado. I respect the fact that you're able to say, I had Arrow. I had Arrow and I got it wrong. But the majority of people, bro, who had Arrow Spence, they completely disappeared from social media. And then when they came back, they just came back with the excuses. So I want to know if that's the same thing that's going to happen with Canelo. What happens if he get outboxed and he lose? Are they going to disappear? Or are they going to come back with the excuses? No, Canelo wasn't the same. And he just looked different out there. And maybe he wasn't focused the same. Or his training. Or I don't know what excuse people are going to come up with, bro. Almighty Jalen. Nah, when Canelo fought Caleb Smith, not score, that was 2019, 2021. Canelo, that's when he was unbeatable. He wasn't unbeatable. By that time, he already had got whooped by Floyd Mayweather. Come on now. Come on, bro. Remember, Canelo got beat by Floyd, and years later also got beat by Bivol. To say that he was only unbeatable in between that time, that's crazy, bro. He training like that again. That's why I got my money on him. Yeah, you're gonna lose that money, bro. Don't put too much so you don't lose too much. Don't bet the house on Canelo. You want to watch it. Cause look, I believe that's why people dislike Crawford so much. Because when you betting for a guy to win, if you bet for Arrow to win, and you watch him get pummeled so badly, one of the worst beatings we've seen in recent times, of course you're gonna hate Crawford after that. I will hate him too. You beat the crap out of my guy. Like, have you ever watched a fight where you're starting to feel bad for the opponent? Like, your guy's winning. I predicted that Crawford was gonna knock Spence out by the 8th or the 9th. I predicted a knockout. But it got to a point, my peoples, where I was feeling bad for Arrow. On Lace, salute my G. Bam. I was actually feeling bad for Arrow. Like, damn, he out there getting pummeled, bro. I remember watching the fight, just thinking to myself, whoa, everybody's watching this. What I'm seeing, everybody else is seeing it. And I grab my phone, look at it. The first thing I see, a Devin Haney tweet. Whoa, Bub beating the shit out Arrow. I'm like, damn, the whole world watching this beatdown. So again, if you had Errol Spence beating Terrence Crawford, and you had to watch that beating, that pummeling session, of course you're gonna root for against Terrence Crawford for the rest of his career. You hate him already. Every fight you're gonna root against him. Come on, man. The Nobody 92, Jay Smith. If the fight with Joan Guzman and Manny Pacquiao would have went down at the time it was supposed to, who would you have won and why? The fight Joan Guzman and Manny Pacquiao. I think I love Joan Guzman, great fighter, but I think Manny Pacquiao would have got him. Although Joan Guzman could have gave him problems because Agapito Sanchez, another Dominican fighter, fought to a draw with Manny Pacquiao, and Joan Guzman has a similar style. By the way, Agapito Sanchez, may his soul rest in peace, he, I'm not sure if he's the first, because Manny Pacquiao took a loss early in his career too, but he was the first guy. Like, once Manny Pacquiao started entering into that rhythm where he entered, where he was unbeatable, where he was knocking people out, beating everybody, yo, Agapito Sanchez gave him problems. And Agapito used to train in Gleason's gym, and I used to see him every day, and he gave me the opportunity to spar with him a couple of times, man. So that was exciting to do. Put some hands on me, too. But I had a good time with Agapito Sanchez, man. May his soul rest in peace. But I feel like Manny Pacquiao beats John Guzman. Creases, Pacquiao is a GOAT. Facts. Almighty Jalen. Don't forget all that weight Crawford going to be fighting with. Canelo going to be in the ring around 180. That's going to be a lot for Bud. Almighty Jalen, that's a perception, but it's not accurate, like, at all. It's not going to be a lot for Bud at all. And I'm going to explain to you why, Almighty Jalen. Terence Crawford been walking around weighing 185 pounds for the last 5-6 months. He actually posted a picture, him standing on a scale, weighing 185, while Canelo was about to fight William Score at 168. He was outweighing Canelo by almost 20 pounds, bro. So what you don't realize is that you're talking about it, Almighty Jalen, like Crawford is walking around at 155 right now. And a couple of weeks before the fight, he's going to stuff himself with food, and he's going to be heavy, slow. Brother, I need you to understand what bulking up is. Terence Crawford been bulking up to 185 and has been at 185 for months. Running at 185, lifting weights at 185, sparring middleweights and bigger fighters, sparring fighters bigger than Canelo, stronger than Canelo, working out, doing all his gym workouts at 185. So he's going to have to cut down to 168. I hope you understand that. He's actually cutting down after bulking up and being in that weight for months. He's going to cut down. Just like Canelo got to cut down, he's going to cut down too with Canelo. And they're both going to make 168. And just the same way that Canelo's going to rehydrate, Crawford is going to rehydrate to where he has been at for months, working out, training, sparring. So, Almighty Jalen, that idea that you got in your head that Crawford is going to be, with the extra weight and the... Bro, what extra weight are you talking about? This guy's walking around ripped at 185 right now. Go to his Instagram. If he's looking fast right now and strong right now, 185, are you telling me he's going to cut down in weight? And after he cuts down in weight, he's going to be weak? After being strong at 185 right now? That doesn't make no sense, bro. That really doesn't make no sense. Crawford was a wrestler one time. Base or legs are going to get strong. Yo, Crawford is a strong fighter. What's up with that name? Crawford was a weird name to have. That's a weird name. Almighty Jalen, I hope you're right. But Almighty Jalen, I'm just telling you the facts. Crawford is walking around right now looking bigger than Canelo. And it's not like he's a fat 185. Look, you don't have to take my word for it. Just go to his Instagram and check it out. This dude jumped on a scale like 2 days, I think it was, before Canelo fought William Score. And he was weighing 185. That is the biggest fake narrative that has been spread about Crawford and Canelo. And Almighty Jalen, look, I'm going to show you. When a narrative has already been spread, you could see the opposite with your own eyes and still try to make that argument. Because look, Almighty Jalen, you're talking about the weight and how Crawford, the size and all that. But you saw Crawford and Canelo when they did the face-off, my brother. Crawford and Canelo faced off like 5-6 times during these press conferences. Did Canelo actually look bigger than Crawford face-to-face? Because if he doesn't look bigger than Crawford face-to-face, Why are you assuming that come fight night, Canelo's gonna be a monster and Crawford is gonna be this little puny guy? When they already did like 5 face-off and they was right there face to face. And you and Almighty, you're talking about, well, I hope so. I hope you're right. No, Almighty Jalen, you don't hope I'm right. You're rooting for Canelo. You want Crawford to lose. You're definitely not hoping I'm right. King Lee, I'm short guy, tried to get into boxing. Okay, King Lee, so I suggest you take a quick time out, watch boxing channels on YouTube, boxing tutorials, boxing stuff. But Box Center, this is not about teaching boxing. This is about boxing conversations, boxing debates. If you want to learn, go to a boxing learning channel. This is not it. People think that it's easy. What? You don't have a name in this account? Is there no name? I don't see no name, or is it backwards, or what? People think that it's easy. Fight for Canelo. I want to see them after match. Well, did you see Canelo after fighting Bivol? He took a pretty bad beating. Took a pretty bad beating. Took a lot of punches. You got to check out. You got to check him out too. Salem. Shout me out, homie. There you go then. That was it right there. My peoples. It's like I said. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. Biggest fight in boxing. We got the biggest fight in boxing after so many people have said, I don't want to watch that fight. That fight doesn't make no sense. That fight is crazy to me. Why would I even want to watch that? Oh, you see? The nobody. The Agapito and Zab Judah ever spar? The Agapito and Zab Judah ever spar? I'm almost sure that they did. The nobody. By the way, I was trying to get you your wrench back and you didn't verify. Let's get you the damn wrench, the nobody. Let's get you your damn wrench. Let's get you your damn wrench. That's all I'm saying. Stop it. Look, Agapito Sanchez was one of these guys who he was so fast, man. He had so much skills. Sadly, he ended up passing away. The nobody, what you mean, get me a wrench? Okay, if you don't know what's a wrench, forget about the wrench. But I'm saying, I've been asking you to verify your account, the nobody, and you haven't verified it. Do you have Instagram or Facebook? Which one do you have? Let me know which one do you have. You know that we verifying because we got the vegetable salad over here with the harassment every morning, so we got to verify. You have not verified the nobody 92. And you know that you always take a hater point of view. So we got to make sure that the vegetable salad is not over here. What next? What is going to be next for Shakur Stevenson, my people? Is he going to get that fight with Teofimo Lopez? Is he going to get that fight? The nobody 92. Oh, shit. I don't know, bro. Okay, so look, the nobody 92. Let me show you something. That's my IG. That's my IG right there. Nah, I don't be hating on here, bro. You know I always... the nobody 92, what I'm concerned about is that you keep talking and talking, but you don't want to confirm. You don't want to confirm. You don't want to give you nothing to confirm yourself. You just be talking. So your next message, if your next message is not going to be, Jay, I'm going to hit you on DM, I'm going to confirm, then I already know you're a vegetable salad and I'm going to block you on the spot. So send that next message so I could know if I'm going to wait for you or if I'm going to block you. There's a lot of beating around the bush. If you're the vegetable salad, you already know I'm smarter than you. If you're not the vegetable salad, then you're just going to verify yourself. Yeah, I got IG. So then that's what I'm saying, bro. Look, just hit me up and verify, bro. Why the nobody 92? We've been going back and forth for like 3 days with me trying to get you to verify, and you just keep saying some other shit, bro. Look, verify, bro. You know the situation that I'm dealing with. So, my people, let's move on from the vegetable salad. Like I said, look, Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez is the biggest fight in boxing, but there are some others that are brewing. Brewing. The nobody. Now, I'm just thrown because I always come here just to talk boxing. I didn't know all this was going on. The nobody 92. You talking way too much already. It's time for you to go, bro. You already got my IG. If you want to hit me up, we could talk. Or here, over here, for now, you block because you talk too much without answering a simple question. You out of here. He out of here. He's out of here. He's out of here, my people. All that talk about, nah, I just come here to talk boxing. I didn't know what's going on. You're out of here. Vegetable salad. Exposed. You're out of here. That crippled vegetable salad. New York City rapist Noel is out of here. Another fake account busted. Couldn't do it. My peoples, let's move on now to the next one. What's gonna happen with Conor Benn, my people? It looks like that fight with Chris Eubank Jr. may fall apart, may fall through. So we saw how the first fight played out. Total war, epic battle, right? But if we take into account how competitive it was, it's reasonable to do a rematch. It's reasonable, right? Conor Benn lost, but he lost in a very competitive fight where he put some serious leather on Chris Eubank Jr. So it seemed like we was gonna get the rematch. They had a contract. It was a 2-fight deal, and apparently, Chris Eubank Jr. may pull out. He may pull out of the fight. Let's see how that situation is gonna unfold. That's all I'm gonna say. David, yes, Jay Smith, looks unlikely. Nobody is really talking about. No, nobody's really talking about it. Which one, my brother? Which one you say? Are you saying Teofimo versus Shakur, or the rematch between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr.? Because that rematch, yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. And I was watching Eddie Hearn. Fuck. I was watching Eddie Hearn in an interview. Hold on, my people. I was watching Eddie Hearn in an interview, and I understood what he said. He was very specific. He said, after that first fight, Chris Eubank Jr. landed in the hospital for a few days. You know, he took some big punches from Conor Benn. And you saw how grueling it was, that showdown. Sometimes a fighter just don't want to be involved in a fight like that. They know what it's gonna take. They know the type of training camp, preparation for that type of fight, and they know where you're gonna go through. There's no way you're gonna get an easy win. There's no way that you're just gonna walk out of there unscathed. If there's a second fight, it's gonna be just as brutal as the first one. And maybe Chris Eubank Jr. is just not up to that. You know, got good money, made some good money, got his family that he want to spend time with, and maybe he's just not up to it. And if that's the case, I respect it. I respect it. Move on, take, whatever break you want to take, and then come back whenever you feel like it. David, and the 10-pound rehydration clause, he had to go to the hospital. Yeah, I seen Eddie Hearn talking about it. But it didn't look like he just had to go to the hospital because of that rehydration clause. It was because of all the punches he ate. He ate a lot of punches in that fight. He won, but Conor Benn put them heavy hands on him. So, if Sugar Ray Leonard can jump up 2 weight classes and beat Danny Lalonde, who was a light heavyweight at the time, Crawford will beat Canelo. That's the thing, that what Crawford is trying to do, people act like it's never been done. It's already been done, my people. It's already been done. Aroma Sound, salute. So People act like moving up 2 divisions is something that has never happened in the sport of boxing. It's happened more than once. You brought up Sugar Ray Leonard. Guess what? Hands of Stone, Manos de Piedra Duran, also moved up 2 divisions to fight him and beat him. Now what? So it's been done throughout the history of boxing multiple times, and fighters have had success. The notion that Crawford is too small and Canelo's too big and there's weight classes for a reason, that's a pointless argument to make. Look, people who say there's weight classes for a reason just don't know shit about boxing. There's weight classes for a reason. It's an argument you make when somebody say, well, Floyd Mayweather never fought Mike Tyson. Dude, Floyd Mayweather was a welterweight. Mike Tyson was a heavyweight. This weight classes for a reason. They're so far apart that they could never fight each other. But 2 weight classes, that's not too far apart. The weight classes for a reason comment does not apply. That's what you have to understand. It does not apply. Okay, I see that somebody's going to need a break. You're going to need a 24-hour break so you can really just watch the show and shut up. If you don't know how to say anything smart, just shut up. You can watch me. I tell you some smart things. Aroma-san, what do you think is more likely, Shakur versus Benn or Shakur versus Lopez? I think if we're going to get one of those two, it would probably be Shakur versus Lopez. That's what I think. And I say that because Conor Benn, would have to move down multiple divisions. Shakur move up multiple divisions. They got to figure out a catch weight. But when it comes to Shakur versus Teo, I think that would just be Shakur moving up 1 division because it probably happens at 140. So I think that's an easier fight to make. My perception. I see it as an easier fight to make. Loma, if Crawford loses, people just say, oh, he's facing Canelo. But if he wins, people will say Canelo is past his prime. I mean, they're gonna have excuses for when he beats Canelo. That you can already take that to the bank to get some pounds. I already realized that, and I accepted it. There are people who will never give Terence Crawford his credit, no matter what. Never, ever, 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 ever. So what's gonna happen is probably the same thing that we saw versus Canelo versus Errol Spence. If y'all remember, people were saying Errol Spence was too big. Errol Spence was gonna knock him out. All these things that Errol Spence is gonna do. And what happens when Errol Spence took the beating of a lifetime? They disappeared from social media and then came back with the excuses. Oh, the car and the eye and Errol Spence dog ate his homework and that day he smoked a bag of weed that wasn't that good, so he couldn't really perform. Like, the excuses were endless. So the same thing is going to happen here. Terence Crawford put the beats on Canelo. The people who said Canelo was going to beat him up, they're going to disappear and come, they're going to take a few days trying to figure out what are the excuses that we can use and come back with those. David, I've said it from day one. Crawford wins by unanimous decision. That's how I got it. That's how I see it happen. I got Crawford winning. But just because I'm saying Crawford by unanimous decision doesn't mean that I'm suggesting he's going to wash Canelo or that he's going to just beat him up. Canelo is a great fighter. Going to be a competitive fight. Okay, it is going to be a competitive fight. But I want y'all to understand, this is the type of fight that is going to give Canelo problems because Crawford has the physical attributes to do so. Look at the footwork. Look at the reach. Crawford has a longer reach than Dimitri Bivol. Canelo's going to have to deal with that. And I'm telling you, especially in the early rounds, where Canelo has to close the gap, he's going to eat a lot of punches trying to figure out how to get on the inside of somebody who has that type of reach, who has more athleticism than he does. And then the power, y'all going to be surprised. All the people who think that Crawford is just not going to have no power, a guy with such a high knockout percentage who's been knocking people out his whole life, people act like he's not going to have no power. He's going to be fast, slow, have no power. A lot of people going to be disappointed, my peoples. A lot of people going to be disappointed. Loma, I got Crawford winning, but not by a lot, bro. Just my opinion. It's just gonna be interesting to see how Crawford react to Canelo's power punches. He's gonna react to Canelo's power punches the same way that he reacts to other fighter power punches. The power is not gonna be. There's not gonna be as much difference in power as people think. There's not gonna be as much difference in size as people think. Think about this, Loma. Did you watch them? Did you watch them when they faced each other for the press conferences? Look at the size. When you see the size, Canelo didn't look bigger than Crawford at all, at all, at all. So why is there that narrative that Canelo's so big, Crawford is so small, when in reality that's fake news? That is fake news, my people. Canelo Alvarez is not huge. He's not a monster in front of Terence Crawford. And I've been telling people. It's almost like we don't want to believe our own eyes. We saw them face to face with each other. Loma, look what he did to Kovalev. Come on, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Kovalev, how old was Kovalev when he fought Canelo? 40 years old? Something like that? Don't do that, bro. Kovalev. You see, that's the thing that you got to notice. We say, look what Canelo did to Kovalev, who was the bigger guy, but we don't say, look what Crawford did to Errol. The beating that Crawford gave Errol, an undefeated reigning 3-belt champion, was way worse than what Canelo did to Kovalev. Way worse. It was a nastier beating. They both got the stoppage, but Crawford was just spectacular. Look, nobody could even, and I posted the question, who has a more impressive win than Terence Crawford in the last 10 years? Nobody could answer that question. Nobody could answer that question. Which active fighter from right now has a bigger win than Terence Crawford beating Errol Spence to become undisputed and absolutely pummeled him? Who has a bigger win right now that you can say? That's what happens when everybody think that you're going to lose. And everybody talk about, he's going to lose. This guy's too big. This guy's too strong for him. I feel sure he's going to get knocked out. When it goes the other way, it's going to be a monster win. Because you thought he was going to lose. Everybody thought he was going to lose. You said he was going to lose. You said he was going to get knocked out. That's the reason why this fight between Bud and Canelo is so big. We're seeing the same narrative play out. If you want to, you could tell me, Canelo is not Errol Spence. I'm not saying that Canelo's no Errol. They different fighters, different styles, different everything. But it's the exact same narrative. Y'all remember the Errol was too big? Y'all remember the Crawford wasn't going to handle the power? Too big and too much power for Crawford, who's too small. It's the same narrative. It's going to play out the same way. You should have learned the first time around, my peoples. That same narrative, bro. Do you not realize it? Hold on. Getting my receipt up in here. Do you not realize it, my peoples, that it is the same narrative? He's too big. He's too strong. Crawford's not going to handle the power. These are all the same things that we said about Errol. And now we're saying them about Canelo. You did not learn the last time. You watched Errol get pummeled, battered, after you said that he was going to knock Crawford out. And you didn't learn. Now you're going to have to once again be taught what Terence Crawford is all about. Now you're using that same narrative about too big and too strong. And Crawford is not going to be able to handle the power. You already used that narrative. And it went down in flames. That's why your feelings was hurt as you was watching Errol Spence take the beating of a lifetime. Now you're going to be hurt when Crawford put the beats on Canelo. I'm out. Well, I'm not out yet, but I'm trying to tell you, it's real talk. Boxing on paper. Usyk, the only one with a better resume. With a better resume than who? Nate Woolbright. No, I don't know what you mean by that. Nate Woolbright. Nate Woolbright. I know that the vegetable salad, his brother, kind of dumb, kind of stupid, kind of moronic. So he would use his own name up in here. Diablo, ese tigre más bruto que el diablo. So tell me, my peoples, es un cabeza de cholito, loco. Ese tigre es un moron. El hermano de la ensalada de vegetal. Diablo, que tigre más bruto. But my peoples, again, when it comes to Terence Crawford fighting Canelo Alvarez, I really want you to consider it. I really want you to consider it. Yo, Nate, take a little time out for 24 hours so you could just watch me. That way you could watch me, but just laugh over there. De ensalada de vegetales está de pinga. Dile al tuyo que suelte eso en banda. Ya can't do it. Look, Usyk, I would say he has one of the best resumes in boxing. In fact, I've already said it before. Usyk is the best heavyweight of this era. There's no getting around that. That's not even up for debate at this point. Because I would say Fury could have made an argument. Fury could have made an argument. But look what's going on now. Look what's going on now. Come on now. What? Bro, you're talking about Usyk can't get past people who don't even fight anymore? Nah, man. Take a little time out. Take a little time out. Those people don't fight no more. We don't know if he's getting past them or not. They don't fight no more. Let's make relevant comparisons. Let's compare Usyk to the people who fight today. That irrelevant, goofy stuff. He can't beat this other guy that he'll never be able to fight. Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Go on timeout and watch me. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You see? So understand, my peoples. The vegetable salad pedophile, school teacher from New York, he can't talk shit about boxing because he don't know shit about boxing. He want to go over here and troll. And then the idiot brother over here trying to do something too. Y'all dumb as hell. All of you dumb as hell. And all of you envy Box Center because you never have this type of success. I understand that. Whack-ass goofies. The vegetable salad is just mad because his channel's whack. Nobody will ever like that whack-ass shit. That you doing, embarrassing yourself and your whole family with that shit. What are you doing out there? What a goofball. My people, look. Let's take a quick sidebar to talk to you about Box Center, how it started, when it started, and the success that we experiencing, my peoples. So Box Center actually started about a year and a half ago. And ever since Box Center started, boxing fans have been embracing it. Boxing fans have been tuning in. So Vegetable Salad, sex predator, who has a failed YouTube channel, who purchased 15,000 subscribers, who purchased 10,000 subscribers, is still going live to 1 people, 2 people, talking by himself in front of the camera like a goofball. You know, crippled from a bed, shitting on himself, nurses cleaning his ass. And he's mad because he sees the success that I'm having over here. So the vegetable, his retarded idiot brother, and people around him, they trying to troll me. Come on, my peoples. Boxing on paper. You ask which active fighter has a bigger win this decade. Usyk resume. The problem with your answer, boxing on paper, is that you're talking about resume. We're talking about a win. We're talking about win. The fact that you bring up the whole resume shows that you couldn't find one win bigger than Crawford's. I asked you, you said it yourself. Who has the biggest win in this decade? You tell me the biggest win is one fight. The biggest win is not the resume. I never asked or even mentioned the resume boxing on paper. I said Terence Crawford has the biggest win. But if you think not, you tell me who has the biggest win. John Parra, whoa, nobody got packed up. Yeah, it looks like the nobody was a vegetable salad. Bam, Alex S., you only need 30 minutes real quick. You didn't come with the right energy. When you come back, hit me up. When you come back, Alex S., hit me up right there. Send me a DM. Send me a DM and we get you back in. Yo, John Parra, he got packed up because I already saw too many funny things. I kept asking him to verify today. Nah, yo, but I didn't know. And I don't know what's going on. And I don't know what happened. He will keep responding with everything but wanting to verify his account. That's it. The nobody also a vegetable salad. Boxing on paper. Whoa, got you. I misunderstood you. Usyk versus Fury, in my opinion, is bigger on... I mean, I don't know how it could be bigger. This fight right here with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, it was regarded as two strong, undefeated fighters, both in their prime. That fight, we already saw Usyk on the decline. I mean, we already saw Tyson Fury on the decline. And Tyson Fury had already, been in some tough wars. Not only that, look at the age between those two fighters and the age between these two fighters. Crawford retired Errol Spence, basically. Retired them, bro. Yoda, you think Usyk beats Joseph Parker? Dime, amor, te vaya. No, yo lo voy a terminar ahora.
Ya yo pedí el Uber.
Está bien, cuando el Uber llegue yo lo termino. No te preocupes, está bien. So I don't got nobody beating Usyk at this time. Nobody. I don't see it happening. That's based on what I've seen from him. He's that guy. You got to show me you can beat him. But I'm not putting my money on nobody to beat him. John Parham, I was just watching the beginning. He, not the vegetable for sure, but don't know why he wouldn't verify himself. He be on that a lot of the channels. Oh, well, I gave him an opportunity. Aroma-san, Usyk beats everybody. John Parham, honestly, I think Parker the only one that has a chance to beat Usyk, if anyone. Damn, man, I don't know, man, because look at Dubois. Look what happened to Dubois. And I felt like Dubois had a chance after what we saw in that first fight. I think that's also how you see how great a fighter is. Like, it was such a great fight. You get your rematch, and you get pummeled. Usyk did the same thing we saw Floyd do to Castillo, to Maidana, where those guys gave him a real good fight in the first one, and they got a rematch. They went in that rematch feeling confident, and Floyd put the beats on both of them. So it's like, yeah, you fought good. When I give you this rematch, I'm going to make the adjustments and beat the shit out you. Pretty much the way that it played out. Hit the like button, my peoples. Yeah, man, we almost going to an hour. 10 likes, man. Y'all ducking that like the same way, y'all know it. Just like Shakur ducking 10. Y'all doing it with the likes. Set this thing up over here. More, Ryan está despierto ya. Ryan está despierto. Okay. Victor J, what do you see in Usyk versus Dubois that told you Dubois has a shot? He got absolutely destroyed and quit in the ring. Once controversial low blow doesn't mean anything in a 12-round fight. I'm not talking about the low blow. I'm talking about the way the fight played out. It wasn't just a low blow. This guy was putting all type of hands on Usyk, and he was using the reach advantage effectively. He was doing a lot of different things. Yoda, Shakur not ducking no Tank. Of course, it's Tank ducking Shakur. Everybody know that. Tank been ducking Shakur. How long? At this point, Tank been ducking Shakur for what? 3 years? 2 years? He don't want it. He don't want that smoke. Tank prefer to fight Jake Paul probably than to fight Shakur. Boxing on paper. More viene llegando. Boxing on paper versus Usyk would be interesting, but nobody know. Hold on, my people. Yeah, nobody know him. Nobody know him. It would be interesting. You know, what would develop inside the ring could be interesting, but if nobody know you, you know, it's not going to be an interesting fight for a lot of fans. More. Ya llegó, More. Hold on, my people. Ay, Dios mío. Me quiero mucho, mi amor. Espérate, déjame terminar el programa. Ven, yo voy bajando con ustedes, vamos. Vamos.
Camino.
Pierre Oliver.
Agárralo.
What up? Pierre Oliver, what up? Do you think Turkey wants to put Itama versus Usyk